blind spot of pharma. Information design as an unknown. All patient-facing documents coming from pharma organizations are vital. They need to be clear, accessible, patient-friendly, and they have one aim in mind: to help the patient reach an informed decision about their health. However, this reality regularly falls short. Many documents are dense, jargon-filled, and difficult to navigate. This leads to patient disengagement, confusion, and non-adherence. A lack of face-sensitive communication can make patients feel overwhelmed or patronized. This means that there is less than optimal patient engagement, and this is in direct contradiction to the sector's pervasive messaging about elevating the patient voice. In other videos, we used the lens of face work to examine this discrepancy between the ideal and the reality. We suggested the idea that the pharmaceutical industry generally believes that they meet this ideal in the points of contact between the organization and the patient. And this delusion, this belief that they are already doing the right thing, has to be the best possible explanation for the discrepancy. Otherwise, it's unthinkable that companies are doing this on purpose. There is simply no way that they deliberately set out to produce patient-facing information that fails their own patients. There is no deliberate agenda behind this. There's no Dr. Evil type character rubbing their hands with glee each time they cobble together another below par patient-facing document. So what then explains this discrepancy between how they think they communicate and how they do it in reality? The Occam's razor explanation could be that it's just a question of ignorance. This means a lack of knowledge, a lack of insight into their patients' informational needs, into how to address patients, what tone to take, what level of information to include, and how to tailor information to individual requirements. Permeating all of this is a lack of awareness of information design. This is the common thread that weaves through all of these holes of expertise. The world is awash with medical writers, but finding one who truly knows how to communicate in lay terms to lay people is a very rare treat indeed. And by this I mean doing it well and doing it correctly. We make this statement fully armed with experience after experience of making this rather sad discovery year after year in country after country. It's not even a common problem, it's the default. It's a standard shortcoming. I can sense the sound of egos bristling. But this ignorance about information design is an industry-wide problem. Ignorance is a very loaded term in English, if not demeaning. And I don't mean it in the English sense. I mean it in the original Latin sense of simply not knowing. Ignorance of something within a corporation can contaminate the management of knowledge across entire organizations. You might be familiar with the Johari window in knowledge management theory and the idea of known and unknown knowledge. So, one, what you know that you know, i.e. your explicit knowledge of something. For example, I know about usability testing of eCore and I'm good at it. How's that for a cheeky advertisement? Two, what you know that you don't know, i.e. your acknowledgement about gaps in your knowledge where you know you are lacking expertise. For example, I know that there is a language called Estonian, and I know that I don't know any of it. I also know that I could learn to speak it if I wanted to. Number three, what you don't know that you know, i.e. tacit knowledge. Things that you don't realize you can do and you do them subconsciously. There are lots of activities that we do every day that we don't ever think consciously about, such as typing without looking at the keyboard, as a simple example. And finally, what you don't know that you don't know. The unknown unknowns, the blind spots or gaps in knowledge that you are completely unaware of. And within the pharma industry, the lack of knowledge in information design should really belong to category 2, i.e. I know that information design exists. I know that I don't know much about it, even though it is very relevant for my role. Therefore, I will take steps to learn about it. However, I strongly believe that it's in category 4, They don't know that there is something called information design that would help them in their work, and they don't know that they need to know about it. This is why I choose the word ignorance very carefully and in a non-judgmental way. And this kind of ignorance becomes an institutional-wide issue. If the clinical writing team doesn't know that they don't know, and their colleagues and bosses don't know that they don't know, and the upper hierarchy doesn't know that it doesn't know, then this becomes a team-wide, if not a department-wide, if not a sector-wide problem. They build walls around themselves. They do not see, they do not hear, sealing themselves within a blind spot cocoon, a cage of invisible ignorance. They assume that what information they do produce is simply just great, but it's not. And if they're doing everything according to their in-house best practice, which hardly ever coincides with best practice in information design terms, then perhaps document failure could be blamed on the patient then. The shifting of accountability could follow a logic as follows, but it's never openly articulated. For example, it's the patient's fault they don't understand, that they cannot bridge the knowledge gap. Surely if they've been living with heart disease for a few years already, they must have picked up some domain-specific knowledge. The patients should be the ones to make the leap. This is a paraphrase of a real statement that was said to me by a medical writer working in the pharma industry. There is a chasm between illusion and reality. It's the gulf that separates what corporate messaging says is happening and what is actually the case. Limited engagement and limited empowerment and limited decision making. But fiction and reality can easily be reconciled. Pharmaceutical institutions could become the stewards of patient empowerment instead of unintentionally erecting barriers. Designing information with the patient's face sensitivity in mind from the outset could be the key to bringing about more alignment between institution and patient. Thank you for listening. This was originally written by Mark Gibson in Leeds, United Kingdom, February 2025.